Okay, Hangouts is live. So that means we're live on gun channels because I think they're instantly. And YouTube is there it is. So welcome live from the crossroads of America to Rick's Life as I See It, Shooting with Disabilities, a 1 hour talk show about guns or anything else that crosses my mind. Also answer questions from the audience. Just put them in the chat box or email me at rickslifeasiseeit at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I have a Patreon page. It's listed on the lower thirds here or in the on my gun channels page and my YouTube page. Also, what else was I going to mention? I've forgotten, so I ain't going to worry about it. Also, let's see. Introduce my panel. We got Blind Shooter. How you doing?
Doing good, Rick. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Then we got the David Kingpin Bowling.
Hunting for the mute button as always.
Okay. Then we
Thanks
got
for having me, Rick.
no problem. Then we got Patriot in the Dark.
Well, good afternoon, everyone.
All right.
Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
Then we got the one and only Squib.
Hey.
Good you're all here. And we got John Brown Productions, Rich White, Black Cat Outdoors, 2 Live Moo. That's on, so far I can see on YouTube. Then we got Sean, Zorro. Of course, we got Rich Wright and David over there too. They're doing triple duty, I think. So, anyway, let's move on with my first question here. And actually, it comes from somebody on the panel here. It comes from David Bowling. Let me find it. I got it in my email here. Where is it?
Everybody be prepared because this is going to be the next question ever.
Now, maybe you can expand it more in what you're saying about talking about wearing regular glasses or prescription eye protection.
Yeah, what I mean by that is, like, for instance, you wear regular prescription glasses. Now, do you prefer your actual prescription glasses, or are you in the vein of people who would go out and get prescription shooting glasses?
Okay, I'm with you.
And those prescription like basketball glasses, sporting glasses, are they as good as your regular, doctor issued glasses?
Okay, I'm with you. I wouldn't. I mean, if I was going to wear shooting glasses, I'd put them over the top of these. But normally, I'm having problems with these. Is because these are normally I have progressive lenses, which makes it easier for me to see. But these are old-fashioned bifocals, and it's got a little square down the bottom here. So I got to get this. I got to find me an eye doctor here in Indiana to get this changed because right now, if I'm holding my gun in front of me, you got to look at the sights. I have to hold my head up to see through the bottom because the bottom part's for close-ups, like reading. So those sights fall in that category. So I sort of have to hold my head up to look down the barrel right now. I used to wear, when I first started shooting, I wore contacts all the time. But then I was thinking about that. Like, if somebody busted in my door in the middle of the night, I don't have my contacts in. They're not ones you can sleep in. So I would have to put my glasses on anyway. So I thought I better learn to shoot with my glasses. That's what I've got on it so far. So what about anybody else in the panel? I mean, you've got very limited sight, right, Blind Shooter?
That's correct.
Now, so you just wear any particular kind of eye protection?
I just wear the normal prescription glasses the doctors give.
Okay. All right. What about you? Oh, well, Patriot, you're going to wear sunglasses or something over your eyes, right?
I like the Speedo goggles, the swimming goggles. But
All right.
yeah, I still wear eye protection. I mean,
Yeah.
eyelids are very soft, and it doesn't take much to puncture them. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can understand that.
but yes, they are fashionable. I try to coordinate, but
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, you said getting you know, a spent piece of brass come flying out, hitting you in the eyeball
yeah,
is not going to help any. Plus, it's going to be hot too.
yeah. And I wore BCs in the Marines, shooting and stuff. So I mean, I've used prescription glasses.
All right, David, you wear glasses? Talk to me,
No,
David.
no, I don't. No.
I mean, you got good old 20/20 vision,
Yeah, yeah, my eyes are pretty good.
so you just wear normal protective shooting glasses.
Well, the problem depends on where I shoot. If I go back to my secret spot in the woods, I prefer to wear regular like sunglasses. Uh, when I'm at my range on the pistol side, I like to wear the clear ones because it's hard. It's kind of dark, and it's weird how like the light comes through the building,
Yeah.
so it's hard to see the sights with dark sunglasses on. But on the rifle side, I stick with sunglasses.
Oh, okay. All right. What about you, Squib?
I haven't worn prescription glasses in 31 years. Uh, I'm one of the lucky ones that come with self-correcting vision. Uh, but I will say this, that about 9 years ago, I started to notice that I was transposing numbers. I'd read a 6 and think it was an 8, or an 8 and think it was a 6. And when you're doing purchase orders and stuff like that, that's not a good thing. So I realized that I needed to get in reading glasses. I actually had somebody recommend that. They're like, no, don't go to the eye doctor and have them rape you for all that money. Just get some reading glasses until you get to 3.5, and then at that point, then you go to the eye doctor. So because of my line of work, I sometimes need to wear safety glasses, and I found that they make safety glasses that are readers. I've tried wearing those at the range to see if they help, and they actually make it worse for me. So I just wear regular safety glasses at the range, or sunglasses, depending. But like David was saying, if it's cloudy or something like that, the shooting stations I've got are shaded. And that's the hardest thing for me is to pick up the sights if I don't have enough light. That seems to be the reason I need readers. It isn't that I can't see anything. It's that under certain light conditions, I have trouble picking up stuff. Like I could read fine print on gray paper before. Now I can't. Unless I shine a flashlight on it. Sometimes I have trouble reading LCD displays unless I shine a flashlight on it. So anything that's going to bring more light in up to a certain point, I wear sunglasses all the time. So you would think that I don't like the light, but that seems to be something that affects me. One thing I would recommend, since I do work in an industrial application, is per OSHA, you've got to have Z87 rated, ANSI Z87 rated safety glasses on the job, and that's usually what they recommend for safety glasses at the gun range. Well, if you wear prescription glasses at work, they will allow you to wear prescription glasses at work in place of those plastic safety glasses, even though the lenses are made of glass. Well, nowadays they've got those lenses that are made of polycarbonate, so that's helpful. But what they will tell you to do is to buy these clear side shields and put them on the stem of the glasses on both sides. They're just like a clear plastic triangle-shaped piece, and that's supposed to prevent debris from coming sideways into your eyes. So you can just pick those up at, well, actually, I'm not even sure where you get them. I don't know if you'd get them from your optometrist or if you'd go on Amazon and just type in side shield. But I would say that if at some point I ever do go back to prescription glasses at the range, I would probably just put on those side shields.
Okay. And Tony has dropped in on the chat. How you doing, Tony?
Hey, guys.
So, how's your vision?
I'm 58 years old, so the vision is not as good as it once was. Plus, I have center sight astigmatism.
All right. So, do you wear glasses?
Yes and no. I rarely wear them unless I'm driving.
You don't need them for shooting?
No, I just wear regular safety glasses. Hell, if I got the glasses on, I can't see the friggin' sights on the gun at all.
Huh. Yeah. Well, I mean, if I have if I take my glasses off, I can see the sight, but it's blurry. That's why I'm holding my head up like this now, the bottom part, because it's like reading distance. Like when I'm reading my little thing here where it says "Welcome live from the crossroads," I tilt my head back just a little bit so I can use the bottom part of this lens.
Hell, we just figured you was looking down your nose at us.
No. So I gotta get to a eye doctor and get this taken care of. I'll go back to wearing contacts, and I might do that too.
Let's see what the
you can wear cooler looking sunglasses and everything. With I got a pair of Ray-Bans that I used to wear with my contacts. I used to look quite cool, actually. Anything else on the glasses or the seeing? Anybody wants to know? Or any questions? Nope. All right. My next question. This is my last one off of this list. So people out there in the audience, I need questions. All right. This one is. It's more. It's. I don't know if it's to do with disabilities, but it could work that way. It's more than one question, actually. It's when did you begin shooting? How did you get into shooting? What was the first gun you learned to shoot with? So, there we go. Who wants to start? We'll start with Tony.
God, when did I get into it? Which time? I mean, first time when I was about 11.
When was that, about 1860?
Would have been about 1972. 72 or 73. And I believe the first gun I was ever handed was a side-by-side double-barrel 12-gauge.
12-gauge, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I probably weighed 50 pounds. I mean, I was an itty-bitty skinny little kid. Knocked me right on my ass. I was hooked.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, but were you going hunting or you were just out there shooting or whatever?
I really didn't start hunting for a couple of years. We would go down to the dump and shoot shit, or the stepdad went out groundhog hunting and I went with him, but I didn't actually hunt. I was just there.
Yeah.
But by the time I got to be 13, I was going to the woods hunting squirrels by myself. The old man had bought me a Remington 572, and it was way too big for me. And being a kid, I dry fired it too much and broke the firing pin several times. And about the third time he took it in to have it fixed, the gun shop said, "You need to, get this kid something else, like a Ruger or something." So he bought me a Ruger 1022.
All right. Just real quick before we move on to the next person, I put the link to join the panel on Gun Channels if anybody wants to jump in. It's there. All right, Squib. When did you begin shooting? How did you get into shooting? And what was your first gun you learned on?
Okay, I was actually reading about guns way before I actually handled a real gun. We didn't grow up with guns in the house. It's not that my parents are anti-gun. It's just Dad was too cheap to buy one. So I started reading about guns when I was 10 years old. I bought my first gun book, and then I went from there. Now, the first time I actually shot a gun, I was 16. I went squirrel hunting with my dad. He gave me Grandpa's 22, and he didn't give me any safety instruction on anything, just loaded it up, put one in the chamber, took the safety off, handed it to me, and we didn't make it but just past the hill behind the house, and I caught a tree root, tripped, had my finger on trigger, pulled the trigger, round went right over the back of his head. Almost killed my dad. Very first time I ever shot a gun. Now you would think that would make me never want to shoot a gun again, and Dad wasn't too happy. I mean, he wasn't scared. He was in Vietnam, for Pete's sake, so that didn't really. He was more pissed off than anything else.
Wow. All right. All right.
Hey guys.
So what was the rest of the question?
It was, when did you begin shooting? You've answered that. How did you get into shooting? You've answered that. And what you learned on? You've answered all three.
Oh, all right.
Good man. Hey, Rick White's joined us. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
All right. So, did you hear the question?
I was actually talking to Ohio 45 ACP up there on the east side. I wasn't paying attention because I was trying to find him a link to something.
All right. The question was, when did you begin shooting? How did you get into shooting? And what was your first gun you learned on?
Oh, when did I was young, maybe 5, 6 years old. My grandfather took me out. You know, I was using he had a, I want to say it was a Ruger single action revolver, 22. That was the first thing that I used. And then when I got good with that, I was around 8, 9 years old, he started me shooting his Smith & Wesson Model 27 using 38 Special. And by the time that I was 10 years old, I was shooting 357 Magnum loads out of that. And then, of course, he had me shooting like 410 and 22 rifle and stuff like that as well.
Okay. All right. Patriot, what about you?
Yeah, my family's always been hunting and guns and all that stuff. But I was actually a city kid. And so anything that I did, you know, was basically had to be on the weekends or summer, you know. So my first gun I got was the summer prior to kindergarten. I got my Daisy Red Ryder, which okay, whatever. But so that was my first gun experience was shooting everything. That thing went with me everywhere. My first real gun was a Marlin 22. All I can remember about it, it had some squirrel carved on the foregrip with some acorns or something to do with acorns. But I shot that all the time, and shortly thereafter, I did, you know, bows and all that stuff too, because we'd go up there hunting every year. And my first rifle I hunted with was a Savage 30-30 lever action. That was, I don't know, some family members. Then the rest is history.
Is that Marlin a Glenfield?
It was, I can't tell you. I was a kid, and all I knew was it was a light, kind of a maple look, you know, kind of a more of a brown than you know, red or anything as far as the color of the wood. And I just remember that there was leaves on it and acorns. I project that there was a squirrel on there, but I can't remember. I was, you know, like 6 or 7 or something like that. I can't remember.
And you don't have it anymore, I take it.
Oh no. I have the only gun that I have from my childhood that's still around is the Winchester 38-55 lever action, the Crazy Horse. It's either Crazy Horse or Sitting Bull or one of them commemorative Winchester. That's the only one that's around. Everything else has been disappeared.
I got one of those Glenfields with the squirrel on it.
Okay, is that, and it could be, you know. I mean, like I said, I was a dumb kid, so I mean, I was a city kid, so I didn't, you know. I mean, I had it with me all the time. It was in my room, you know. It was never, you know, we didn't lock anything up. I mean, it was the early 80s, you know. What are you gonna do? Or I guess late 70s. Jeez, I don't know. There. That's
okay, David, what about you?
Well, my story might be a little bit different. My dad bought my brother a break action single shot Winchester 37 model 37A shotgun and a Marlin model 60 22 long rifle. And when I was a kid, I was scared to shoot them. because they're loud and bang and all that kind of stuff. I was afraid to shoot them. And then when I got older, my gun experience was less than legal, so we won't talk about any of that. Now, full time, my first rifle was a Ruger AR-15, and then my first handgun was the Ruger SR-40. And then I may or may not have gotten more than that since then.
All right. Blind shooter, what about you?
Surprisingly enough, I actually got into guns at a young age. I want to say it's about maybe first or second grade. Someone got me one of those police sets for my birthday and had like a little dart gun in it. And back in the 90s, you couldn't go out and buy replacement accessories, so every time I finished shooting up the targets and losing the rubber bullets, had to go out, buy more dart guns, and just went from there. At the age of 16, got my first BB gun. Didn't actually fire a real gun until the age of 18. And from there, the rest is history. First gun I actually shot, trained with, and still own is my car K9.
Okay. All right. Now, myself, I say I didn't get into guns. Talking about it, I might have, I'm trying to remember, I think I shot a 12 gauge shotgun one time on the farm when I was visiting my relatives here. But it's very vague. I don't really remember. But I actually didn't get into shooting until about, 3 years ago? Hang on. What are we in now, 19? Yeah. 3.5 years ago when I actually got into real shooting with thing, and my first gun I shot was some I can't even remember the model of it, but it was a pistol and it was a 22. Because I went with an instructor to learn how to shoot because I had no clue. And of course, she started me off with a 22, and I think it was a 2-hour lesson I had booked, and I was shooting 45 ACP by the end of it. And I loved that 45 ACP so much. And that's the first gun that I purchased was my Smith & Wesson M&P 45, full size. And I bought a few. I'm not going to say I have or I haven't. Got a few more since then. Now, rifle-wise, the only rifle I have shot is the one I've got, and it's a Smith & Wesson 1522. And that's great fun. I love shooting that damn thing.
Oh, so, we're going to have a blast. It gets nice weather, and I get to come down there. I'll bring all mine.
Yeah, so that's it on my shooting experience. I said I'm a newbie compared to most of you guys. So I had a BB gun when I was younger. I remember that. I remember getting my ass whipped by my father because he was at work and we were my brother and a neighbor or something. We were shooting at each other, and I was inside the house in the kitchen using the screen door as my concealment. And, of course, hundreds of little BB holes in it. So I do remember that much, but that's about it. The only reason I remember it is because I got the ass whooping, for doing that. You could shoot your eye out with them damn things. So.
It was fun shooting the sheets hanging on the clothesline. My grandma. Because the BB wouldn't go through, it kind of sink itself in it and stay there, and it was kind of cool until we got beat for that too. So
I got an uncle who's younger than I am by a little bit, who's got a BB still in his forehead.
And see, that's the thing about the BB. Is I had a BB gun, and I had your old, Kmart bow and arrow, and BB gun shooters are the original reloaders, because I don't know about you, but whenever I would shoot my BBs into like a water jug or a milk jug, I'd dig them back out and reload them and shoot them again.
Yeah. And or if you had one of those BB guns that also shot darts, you know, pull them out of the target and reload those into your gun again.
Mm-hmm. I also have an uncle that's got a BB still in his chest.
Now, in the spirit of full disclosure, this uncle shot at me first.
Oh, you're the one that put the BB in his forehead.
Yes.
So it was a self-defense shooting.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, okay, there you go. You know? All
Yeah,
right.
one time my stepfather thought he was going to be a smart aleck, and he started shooting at me weekly with this, you know, one of those store-bought slingshot things. So I went upstairs and I grabbed my CO2 air pistol and started shooting at him with that. He didn't take too kindly to that and stopped in short order.
All right. Well, I've got the. Were you going to show us something there, or you just change your computers there, David?
Yeah, I'm going to show you something.
While you get that squared away, I just thought of something. Tony, you realize that yours was one of those unreported uses of a firearm in self-defense that we're always talking about, you know, that they never bring up because somebody doesn't report it. So,
unfortunately, Illinois doesn't consider pneumatic gun a firearm.
I'd like to mention too, it wasn't a maple leaf on that thing. It was more of a white oak with acorns, because obviously acorns aren't on a maple tree.
The stalks on them should have been birch.
Okay, it was very light, but the carving on it.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see that.
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, that's a little pellet gun. And this is the gun that I got shot with.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I remember getting hit with the BB. It damn hurt. It didn't break the skin or anything, but I know it damn hurt. So, all right. I found another question in this thing here. It was it's from one of our listeners, and I can never pronounce the word, but had an accident or whatever, and developed fibromyalgia. How do you pronounce it?
Fibromyalgia.
That's it. And took a lot of time and practice to be able to shoot my Walter PPS M2 LE in 9mm without hurting days after. I also shoot a 357 6-inch GP 100. My question is, do you guys have any friends with this? If so, do you think I could use a 1911 in a 45 without hurting myself? I've never, you know, I can't see why not.
Yeah, if he's shooting 357 Magnum, I don't see 45 ACP being worse than the recoil than what a 357 Magnum is. This is me. So.
I mean, as long as you're not shooting 44 mag, you're good.
Most people I've ever heard talk about it say that ACP round, the recoil is longer, but it's smoother. So I don't know why the hell you wouldn't be able to shoot it.
Yeah, a full size 1911 with the weight and stuff, it's gonna be a lot better. My stepdad has MS, and he can only shoot for a certain amount of time before he shakes, and then the pain afterwards and stuff like that. And he practices a lot with like the buck mark and stuff, but I'm sure there wouldn't be an issue shooting a full size.
Okay, sorry. Seven Wonders, yeah, it was your question. I forgot to mention he's also got 3 ruptured discs as well.
Yeah, I mean, if he can handle firing a 357, he should be fine firing a full size 1911. It's just
is he shooting
lighter? It's just going to be a longer impulse, but it's not going to be heavier by any stretch of imagination.
Is he shooting it with 357 Magnum though, or is he using 38 Special in it? Yeah, if he's shooting 357 Magnum, the 1911 shouldn't be bad at all.
Do they make the subsonic loads and pistol cartridges?
Yeah, you can get subsonic pistol cartridges. 1911, 45 ACP is almost all subsonic. When
Yeah, I was
you're
gonna say,
firing
you'd be
full size.
lucky to
I don't know
find
that there is
AC.
a supersonic.
Yeah, there
45.
are. Yeah, there
Yeah.
are supersonic 45 ACPs. Usually, when you get down to around the 185 grain, not 1911, 45 ACP.
Oh
Those-
yeah, the lighter, yeah.
Yeah, but he's saying his 357 is a 6-inch GP 100.
Don't matter.
Don't matter. I don't think. I think the
Yeah, it
recoil
doesn't
on
matter.
that 357 is going to be harder.
Recoil impulse on the 357 is really quick, and that's why people tend to shy away from the damn thing, because it's like smacking your hand with a fucking hammer.
Yeah.
And the ACP is a whole lot smoother.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't have issues like that. So my first 357 was the SP 101. So it's and I shot a whole box. I didn't really realize the big deal with it, but I don't have those issues. And the 45, I don't think it's if you're having it's a full size gun and you got the weight behind it and stuff. I don't think it's going to be that. I wouldn't get a small single stack or some light little compact or anything, because then that might be a little different.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. Well, I find. It's a little. My little. What call it? I've got my little Taurus Model 85, the 38 special. That thing. I find that harder to shoot than my 45. I feel it's got more recoil. I don't know if that's the right word, but the little 38 specials are a pain in the ass to shoot. Really,
Yeah.
I can't shoot it as long as I can in my 45.
Yeah, I'm the same way with my wife's 642. It's an aluminum frame airweight, and that thing, it's in 38 special, but it seems like it recoils worse than what my 4-inch Smith & Wesson 627 357 Magnum does using a 357 Magnum round. Those little 38s, they can pack a wallop, especially if you got like elbow damage or like Seven Wonders was saying, fibromyalgia or something like that. Because that, I wouldn't recommend him going out and getting one of those. But full size 1911, get one and shoot it to your heart's content. You should be fine.
See, my goddamn cat got in the way here.
Yeah, cats love being on camera.
The other thing is
This
you
is
could
one of my
always.
this is one of my main coons. He's a big old boy.
Telling you,
The
it's
other
time
thing
to
you
butcher
could
that
do
son
is-
bitch.
Come on, get out.
Go. All right.
MGM Grand called. They want one of their Lions back.
What were you saying, Patriot?
Now, I would just suggest to go try it. You can rent them. There should be a place around that you can rent, or everybody at the range, they always like showing off their stuff. So I'm sure you could shoot a couple of rounds from somebody's. If there's somebody there that has a 1911.
Yeah. Well, 7 Wonders, if you're shooting a snub nose 38, you'll be able to handle a 1911 45 ACP, no problem.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah. You're going to say, why didn't I shoot one of these ages ago? So. All right. I think, Blind Shooter, you have a question, don't you?
Yeah, I was just going to put the question out. When going to the shooting range, maybe not you sighted folks, but has a disability, have you guys faced any discrimination at the range?
Oh, there you go. With me back when I was shooting before I had my hip surgery and stuff, and I would have to use it. I've gone to the range using a walker, and I've had no problems. They even gave me a chair to sit on to shoot with. This is in an indoor range.
Yeah, Rick, I've had them discriminate against me when I take my walker to the range too. It's usually that big muzzle blasting cloud of smoke but they can deal with it.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, not enough to. I wouldn't call it discrimination towards me. It's just that no, they tried to help me.
Right.
I mean, but some people sort of shy away from you, like you're going to catch something from you or something.
My range is extremely accommodating. I mean, now I pay a lot of fucking money to be a member of it, but they went so far as to buy a bunch of them little fold-up wagons, that got cloth sides on them and cloth bottom, I think. And they just let you use them to take your stuff out to the range because it's a fair bit of walking. Plus, it's freaking bluff you got to go down.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I pay a lot of money, but there's some benefits. And, the reason I pay so much damn money is because I want to take a lot of people with me when I go. I don't want to have to pay for it at the time.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Patriot?
That's a good question. I didn't really at the range portion, not so much. I have in gun stores themselves, but it's got a lot better. So I don't know if it's just I don't care what they think and I don't notice it, or if their perception of it has changed.
I got to be honest with you. I think that if I was working in a gun store or range and you approached me as a blind shooter, I'd be questioning that, I think.
I think, to be honest with you, I think I would too. If I mean, I don't know if I would now because I know you. But if I didn't know you, I would say, I would definitely want to make sure you knew what in the hell you were doing.
I'd question him because I know him.
Yeah. I'd
question him because he's a Marine.
I've been at the range using my electronic key fobs or whatever, especially at the outdoor range. And I'll be there shooting, and at the outdoor. You got people walking up at different times, coming in and starting or whatever. So you'll shoot there for a while. You'll have somebody new come up next to you, and they'll start shooting. You're shooting away, and with my remote, I can push it at any time, and the tone goes off. And you'll have these guys looking around, wondering what in the hell that sound is. And they don't realize the guy next to them. They said, do you see that? Is that somebody's phone? Is that your phone? They don't realize I'm a blind guy until I fold up everything and then take out my cane. But yeah, the range I go to, obviously they know me now. But when I initially went there, because I had asked about some training in the in-house instructor, he was a dick. Basically, no, I can't train you. I can't do nothing with this, kind of thing. And so I left there, and I kind of I don't really care for the shop very much, but that's what it is. But ever since I have my CPL and stuff, and I go in there, and I spend money there, so they like me because of that. I haven't got any of the flack that I have prior. Now you'll get the new guy that doesn't know how to do paperwork and that kind of stuff, but that's easy to get around. But as far as full up discrimination, where where you got to bring it up and you got to try to push for something to let you in, I don't have that.
All right.
Haven't seen it.
Anybody else in the panel here that might see discrimination? I mean, even you guys that are normal, for lack of a better word, right now.
Oh man!
I mean,
have you seen that David Bullen?
I mean, have you seen any discrimination at the range?
To be completely forthright, at my range, I'd probably be the one doing the discriminating. I have to admit that the range and the day that I go to, we've got kind of a clique thing going on. At least we did until new range officers came in and screwed it all up.
Ah, you're one of those.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. At least you're honest. Real quick, Rob D, New York Outcast. I need your mailing address for your prize. All right, that's from San. Oh, talking about that real quick.
Remind me before we disappear that I got at least 2 questions for you.
What for Saturday?
Well, for whenever you want to use them, if you do.
Okay. All right. Talking about that, nobody has entered my quiz for my for my little swag pack from last week. Not one person. And the question is so easy, it's unreal. Maybe I need to harden it up. So for you guys who want to know, the question was, what movie did Bruce Willis, Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Chuck Norris were in together?
That's like the easiest question, too.
Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. That's it. You know, there's a sticker, my sticker. There's I believe there's, if I remember, this is the last patch from Spartan Arms out of Las Vegas. If I remember correctly, I think this is the one. Yeah, it is. And I tell you, that is a nice goddamn patch. That really is. So then there's a sticker from the Tactical Pickle. Tactical Pickle there. Then there's mine. There's a few others in here. So so just email me with the answer for the quiz. You got to lunchtime Saturday. So there we go.
But
I got a good prize for this week. I'll
Rick,
show you guys when I
if I enter, nobody else gets a chance.
I know. You always win. You know, so I don't mind you guys. I don't mind you guys entering because I haven't told you the answer. So
No, but I know the answer already. I know the answer. I just haven't sent it in.
yeah. So there we go. All right. Anything else? Anybody else wants to think? Normally, I'm trying to keep this show to disabilities and not much else. But it was brought up that somebody in the panel here wanted to discuss it tonight, and I said we'll bring it up in the last 15 minutes. He wanted to bring up the bill in the House today for H.R. 8, which was isn't that the universal background checks there, Squib?
Yeah, federal universal background checks.
The floor is yours.
All right, so here's the thing. In our community, we all come from different backgrounds, different level of experience with this, different amount of time with this, and we all don't have the exact same objectives. And you can say, yeah, we do. Preservation of the Second Amendment. I guess I mean how we go about it or for what reason we want it preserved. There's been a lot of people that seem to think that our community has resources to fight every battle all at once with the same amount of intensity, and we don't. If you really look at it, based on our numbers, how much money we got, how much time we got, and the kind of enemy we're going up against, we can only deal with 1 or 2 things at a time, or we can only deal with a few things at the state level and a few things at the federal level. We cannot fight every fight. People want to go all the way back to 1934 to present and fight everything at once, and we need to look at what's the most important thing for everybody. The one thing that affects, damn it, they keep coming back here with the forklift anytime I want to talk. Anyhow, sorry. So you got to look at what affects everybody in every state. What affects all of us first. Then you start going after the little niche things that affect things either at a state level or that only affect a few people. And it's not that the one issue that you're just hell-bent on getting reversed isn't important, but we got to look at the overall picture. And they will confiscate our guns if they have registration coast to coast. I know in some states there's registration, and I would like to get that reversed. But if they do universal background checks, registration will be next. After they've got national registration of everything, confiscation will be next. People are too busy worried about stupid-ass bump stocks or the NFA or some of these other ridiculous things, and they're not looking at what affects everybody and what is going to be the nail in the coffin, the beginning of the end. So what I'm trying to say is take a second and stop thinking about your silly little toys and quit thinking about you're being tactical and some of the other things. And for you people out there that this is only about hunting, the Second Amendment is not about hunting. It's more than just the people that are involved that only care about their concealed carry gun and nothing else. It's also about the people that don't get off their couch unless there's a presidential election. You know, and there's plenty of people out there in organizations and as individuals that are trying to scare all of us because they make money off of it. And people can say the NRA doesn't do this, the GOA does everything, this person does this person has a YouTube channel, they do that. It doesn't matter about where you're aligning yourself with, but you need to think about it. What's their ultimate goal? To take everything we've got. How will they know what we've got if they get registration? What's the one thing we've got that avoids registration in most of this country? Private owner sales with no background checks. So if they're pushing this stuff, I mean, they've only been in office less than a month and a half, this new Congress, the one that we elected, because plenty of our friends didn't get up off their ass and go vote. Not that voting Republicans a guarantee either, but that's a whole nother argument. But they're talking about universal background checks, and if they make this law, eventually they will have a backdoor registry of everything. And you can bet confiscation will come after that. So just think about it, people. We'll get back to your NFA items and your other things that everybody is just so worried about after we secure something that's going to affect all of us. Even if you're living in a state like Rich lives, where they've got great gun laws, this is a national thing. It's going to affect everyone. So just think of it like that.
But you heard, I don't know if any of you guys heard the Daily Lobby today, but Knives was playing the House meeting today. And Sheila Jackson said her famous saying, she said, "It's not my state's problem, it's this state next to me, and that state next to me, and this state next to me." Like, those states just sell guns to anybody. You know, you can't go to Indiana and buy a whole bunch of guns illegally and take them back to Illinois. That doesn't happen. You know, you cannot.
She blamed Indiana.
And that's like Scribb was talking about. They want this. In one side of their face, they talk about give me states' rights and keep the federal government out of my state. Then they talk about bring the federal in, and that's what they want. As soon as the federal government says there's instant background checks for everybody, the attack on Illinois or the attack on Indiana is going to go crazy. And people in West Virginia or people in Maryland are going to say, "Oh, West Virginia, we need to build a wall so we can't get guns out of West Virginia."
I'd be perfectly okay with them building a wall between Maryland and West Virginia.
Yeah, but the thing is that they do it on a federal level.
Yeah.
Okay, now if you go to sell your shotgun to your brother-in-law and you don't do a background check, and eventually you give it a couple of years. Next time they get a Democrat in office in the presidency, they'll go, you know what? That universal background check that we passed a couple years ago, it's still not enough. Now we need national registry. And it'll get pushed right through. It'll get pushed right through. And at that point, now they've got the list. Now they literally could go house to house, building to building. And that takes a lot of time and there's a whole lot of manpower. But if they knock on your door and they go, all right, says here you got 10 guns, cough them up. And you're like, they're not here. You better find them. Or it's you they're hauling away.
Yep.
But isn't Oregon, I could be wrong, but weren't they like imposing some kind of new gun law where they want to ban all semi-automatic firearms?
There's a lot of stuff coming out of Oregon.
Yeah, and that stuff is important. There's a lot of things that are important, like trying to get more states with constitutional carry. There's a lot of things that are important, like getting rid of some of these magazine capacity laws. But here's the thing. This is what we do. We divide in our community. And people go, I want to save my semi-autos. That's great. Save your semi-autos. In 4 years, we might have national registry, and those semi-autos that you fought so hard for, they're going to come knocking on the door and demand them. I'm saying, look at the big picture, but that's the problem in our community. Despite how involved or uninvolved people are, they're only interested in their little corner of it. What does it affect them? Now, I'm not saying that I can make a difference in Maryland. I can't. I can write the governor. I could show up to a rally. That's about it. I might be able to join a Maryland group and maybe some of the money from my membership goes to it, but there's not a whole lot I can do. But also somebody from Maryland can't do very much for me in Michigan. But at a federal level, we need to be involved in anything that's going to affect all 50 states, and it's going to affect every gun owner, whether you're a FUD or whether you are Mr. Tactical, everything's got to be full auto. And a universal background check is it's rolling out the carpet for national registry, and then after that is confiscation. So I just want people to think about that and stop looking at these little things that, yes, we need to address, but we can always go back and address those as long as we still have a Second Amendment. But if they start tearing down at the thing that is going to affect everyone, you can just kiss that Second Amendment goodbye eventually. So.
All right. Anybody else got any input?
Well, you don't have to focus on just the one thing. I mean, I can't turn away from what's going on here in Illinois.
Now, I'm not saying you have to stop doing that. I'm saying there are people in your position who go, I don't really give a shit about what they're doing in Congress. I'm only going to care about semi-autos in my state. Okay, that's great. You're in your state. You need to fight for your state. But I'm saying, how much time and money do you have to do this stuff? If you've got so many hours a week and so much money a year to put into this, and you go, I'm going to put it all into Illinois, and you don't put any time or money into doing something about universal background checks, and you go, well, screw it, we've got universal background checks here. Well, what if you decide to move to Missouri, like what you're saying? And they don't have it, but now it's on the federal level, and it's true. No matter where you move, you're stuck with it. You see what I mean? I'm not saying stop fighting for what you're fighting for, but there are people that when they come on YouTube, all they want to talk about is their one item, and they don't give a crap about the rest. They need to really think about what affects all of us. I can't do something about something in your state, Tony, but maybe I can do something that affects all states. You see what I mean?
Well, it's the government. Go ahead, Tony.
I wrote 2 letters this morning, and I wrote 6 others opposing this background thingy because I oppose all gun control, flat out across the board, everything.
Well, and therein lies the problem as far as I look at it, because before I got into what I call full-time firearms, I cared about guns, and because I cared about freedom. And what people fail to see is the government's not stupid. They bloat themselves up bigger and bigger and bigger every day, every month, every year, because it's impossible to keep track of them. When you've got 50 people working for you, you can keep an eye on them. When you can hire a manager, and you and the manager can keep an eye on them. And you got 5,000 people working for you, you can't keep enough managers to keep an eye on them. And that's what happens in government. They add another layer of bureaucracy, and another layer, and another layer, and another layer. Just like I mentioned around voting time. I'm pretty involved in politics, and when I was looking at my Maryland ballot, there was a bunch of names on there I had to go look up and study because I had never heard of them before. Cycle Camp was talking about it on the Daily Gun Show last night. I think he said there's 130 new laws coming. I think I don't know when the new laws come into play, but that's what happens in Maryland. You know, gobs and gobs of laws come in, and you start looking at the new laws that just got passed, and you're like, holy crap, I heard about 5 of these, but the other 160 I had no idea existed. And that's the point. When a government is as big as it is and getting bigger, you cannot keep track of it. And guns fall right in there too. They throw out 10 million gun legislations because you can't keep up with it.
But when you have that many coming out there, even if you could keep up with them, You do not have the resources to fight, would you say, like 160 laws? You don't have the resources to fight 160. There's some people that seem to think we've got enough resources. We got to fight all 160 equally. And it's like, no. Let's look at which ones can we win, which ones are going to create other gun control, and which ones affect everybody before we start looking at little things. And okay, here's a military tactic you guys might not be aware of. Well, Patriot should. So you've got a perimeter. You've got a defense. You've got an enemy surrounding you. They want to get in there. How do they get in there? There's a lot of different ways. Well, one way is to make a quick striking attack at one point in the defense to make it look like that's where you're going to breach the defense. Now you move all of your reserves and maybe take assets from other areas in your perimeter to move to that one spot, because this must be where the attack is going to be. And while you're focused on that, they come around your flank, your backside, and hit you where you're weak because you moved your assets from there to this one spot where it's a fake attack. And that's what they've been doing with us with some of this stuff. Yes, they're going after certain things, but we focus on the thing that gets the loudest voice or the most attention, and that may not be the most important thing. And somebody may say, well, it's the most important thing to me. Right, it's the most important thing to you. Is it the most important thing to everybody? No, that doesn't mean we shouldn't do something about it. But you only have so many people to man this perimeter. You can't have 100 people every foot. You can only put one guy every 100 feet. So when they come in at this one point, if you start pulling people off the backside, you just suddenly made a weak point, and then they come pouring in and they kill you from the inside out. And I know that that's an analogy of a military tactic, but it actually works. And that's what it seems like they're doing with some of these laws, is they're coming up with laws that, yes, we should do something about, but we're so focused on these, we're not focused on something that will take away the Second Amendment altogether. You see what I mean?
Yep. Hey, I do want to mention one thing real quick. Sort of similar thing what you were saying there, Squib. I was listening to some of the radio thing the other night. The Second Amendment Foundation. They do about 80% of the court cases in this country on Second Amendment. But they even said, right, they pick cases they think they're going to win. They don't pick up every Second Amendment case because some of them they can't win. And that's basically what I'm saying. You got to concentrate on what we can do now. You know? Yes, I mean, I would love to. If I had the money to go buy a machine gun, but it's not the most important thing right now. I don't think, personally. You know,
and that's not to say it's not important.
No,
you've got to. It's kind of like if you've got a budget, right? You've only got so much money. You get paid every week, and you've got a certain amount of bills. What do you need first? You need, to pay for your rent. Otherwise, you ain't gonna have a place to live. Then you need to pay for your car so you can drive to your job to actually make the money. And then you need to, put gas in your car. And then you need to, there's different things. So before you pay for your Netflix, you fill your fridge, that sort of thing. Well, we got people that want to pay for Netflix and forget about the fridge. And we don't have enough money for both. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The thing that annoys me is when you hear people say, oh, they do this all the time, they'll never get it passed. Yeah, they do it all the time. They might not get it past this time, but who's to say they're not going to get it past the next time, or the next time, or the next time? Because they've been bringing up this universal background check for how many years now?
Oh, yeah. They keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
So if you look at the movie Jurassic Park, when they pulled up next to the dinosaur thing, the Tyrannosaurus Rex thing, and the guy is like, yeah, the Tyrannosaurus Rex keeps hitting the fence. And they're like, why? And they said he's looking for weaknesses. And that's exactly like Rich was talking about. They're going to throw things out and see if it sticks. And they'll find all the weaknesses. Like I've already said before, when the bump stock thing come out, they heard everybody scream about, screw the bump stock, that's a stupid piece of plastic I don't care about. And they said, look, nobody cares about this stuff. And there's the weakness that they found.
Yeah, but they also use that to distract us from other things.
Yeah.
And we were so busy worried about bump stocks that we didn't worry about other things that affect everybody. So it's not to say bump stocks aren't important or the principle behind it isn't important, but they tricked us. And people fell for it hook, line, and sinker. But I think it was you, David, who might have been telling me, if it wasn't you, it was somebody else on gun channels, but I thought it was you who said something like, we don't have enough votes for national reciprocity, right?
Yeah, that was me.
And that was my big mistake. Was I thought we should go after national reciprocity, but I didn't know that we didn't have enough votes. If we don't have enough votes to do it, then we shouldn't devote as many resources as say I wanted to devote to it. And I need somebody to let me know this stuff so that I'm not devoting my resources where they're not going to do as much good or do any good. It doesn't mean you give up the fight. It doesn't mean that you don't fight for stuff that affects you. It doesn't. But it's really, people get so focused on one item, just like I was focused on national reciprocity, that they lose sight of the big picture. And that's how we don't have cohesion. We're all individuals and we're all in this for different reasons. But when we need to come together, we need to come together for the big picture first and then the little things second. If you can do some of the little things and still contribute towards the big picture, great, fine, kudos for you. But some people don't see it that way, and they don't understand that they're cutting off their nose to spite their face.
Well, that's why we got to get more people on our side, though. I mean, I don't care if you take one person to the range, 10 people, and, I don't care if, they never, go out and buy a gun, period. But if we can get them to at least take our side and say, hey, I see your point. Yeah, I don't want to own a gun, but, the government shouldn't be infringing on you, then, hey, that's one more person we can get on our side to help us fight.
I agree with setting priorities. I mean, that's basically all that you were saying is we need to get our priorities straight. Now, my priorities, don't line with everybody's, but the major points, that's why we do these shows, is to get information out there. You're never going to have everybody focused on, the main priority, because nobody's going to agree on the main priority, right? Not to say you shouldn't try, whatever, but focusing on the big things, national stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of us out here, and there can always be more. That is a big point, that you have to have. I don't know. Where you say, hey, you can't, put aside everything else and just focus on the big things, which, you can do, but, I multitask, I can do things. So you're going to.
You can still multitask, but you have only so many resources. So if you fool yourself and say, I've got enough resources to tackle everything at once, you're fooling yourself.
Who does that? Do you attack everything at once? I don't think you attack,
No, I don't, but there are some out there that are saying that's what we need to be doing. There's some out there that the things that they're saying, that's their approach. And I think they're wasting their resources and not getting an objective accomplished.
Okay. What I'm saying is there's X amount of people out here, right? All their priorities are all over the place, right? If they're pushing in one direction, that's great, all right? You're not going to get 100 million people, 500, whatever it is, to focus on one priority, especially one that, some people are focused on, whatever. So the saying that, there's a lot of people, if we get the people that are active and we switch it from, this is a gun right. It's not a right of the gun. It's gun owners. It's liberties. We can switch it to a liberty-based thing. You get a lot more people in step. All right. So when you get more people involved, you can cover more ground. Right. You don't have to focus on the only places where they're attacking. You brought up where they did the skirmish with bump stocks, and everybody focused on bump stocks. Well, obviously, not everybody focused on bump stocks. People thought it was stupid. People didn't do what they could have. So they didn't focus on that, and that's why things got to where they are now.
Bump stocks ended up that way because of the response that we gave them. The report was that so many people had sent in responses that were inappropriate. They sent in responses that didn't really
say whatever they want, but if they got a mass majority of people focused on that problem, that issue, and got involved and made a big stir every place focused on that thing, it wouldn't have turned out that way. There's 90% of people that never touched a thing, never liked it, whatever. I don't know the numbers. I'm not a number guy. But there was a big portion of people that said, I don't care about it. Give it, I'll give this up for this, and all the other, words that were thrown around. There's a lot of people that weren't focused on it. I know a lot of people that weren't focused on it and didn't do anything for it. And hey, that's their priorities or whatever. But that wasn't focused on and taken care of. As far as this priority that you're talking about, where you're focusing on the big picture. We can't conflate something like the bump stock ban as, hey, this is where they hit, and they seen that nobody cared about it. That's one thing, but you can't say that everybody was focused on it, because a lot of people, I mean, I know people that still don't know any of the stuff that's going on, and they're gun owners. So changing the idea to more of a liberty-based issue, civil rights, it's our right, our civil rights are being affected, by government infringing on anything, let alone, stepping and telling me, what color shoes I can wear, what color, whatever. That is against civil liberties, and this is what the issue is. It's not about a tool. It does, they could ban knives. Second Amendment isn't about guns. Second Amendment is all arms. Knives, sticks, whatever the hell you want. So, if you focus on this one thing and get distracted because that's all you're focused on, and you don't spread it across the board with everything and look at it more of a personal liberty, because we are free people and we don't have a king and we're not told what to do every day. Once you can step away from that, you can bring a lot more people in. I'm sure there's a lot of college professors that would say, hey, I want to, whatever weird shit they're into, they want to do that, and they don't want the government telling them they can't wear their, jackets with leather elbow pads or whatever, weird shit they're into. Maybe they're not going to jump on the gun thing, but that's kind of extreme. But you understand what I'm saying, though, is if you focus on a liberty aspect of it, it's going to pull it away from this firearm, this tool, this thing that they demonize, because it has nothing to do with that.
That's what I say all the time. Is in budget says it every week on the show. It's never about gun control. Isn't about gun control. It's about control. And none of these bills, the bump stock bill, the thing they were talking about today, none of this stuff, the NFA, the assault weapons ban, never was about guns. Never, not once, was about guns. Now, to what they told us is it's about guns, because that's the scary thing. And look, oh my gosh, this person's dead and that guy had a gun. It's all about stripping our freedoms away. That's what it's about. And Patriots nailed it right on the head. You go to the guy who doesn't give a crap about guns either way, and you start telling him, they took my bump stock and they won't give me a fully automatic machine gun and a recreational nukes. He's going to say, man, you probably shouldn't have it anyway, you crazy. But if you tell him, look, they're coming after our freedoms. Your free speech is next. Your, Starbucks coffee is next. All these things, you've got a lot better chance of getting the people who don't care about guns at all to pay attention to what you're saying, because the government doesn't care about guns. These bills are not about guns, not 1 second about guns. And if you think I'm wrong, I mean, that's fine. You can have your opinion. We can have a debate about it, but it's all about pushing us into a corner, pushing us down to our knees, and making us beg for everything from Uncle Sam.
Well, it's like the red flag law. Like, what a lot of people don't realize is, yeah, it affects gun owners right now, but, to an extent, if you look at it, it's infringing on the right to due process. So if they enact the red flag law for the second, once they get rid of the second, okay, what's next, and what is that red flag law going to infringe on? So, hey, there goes your due process for guns. Like, all right, hey, let's, you don't have the right to worship who you want.
They got hate speech.
With that,
go ahead, Patriot. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I emailed Rick in, I don't know, whatever, the article about the college engineer, college kid or whatever that designed a auto sear to drop in a AR-15, and they got him for it, because obviously he did something illegal. But if you look at what they actually charged him with, was the bump stock ban, saying that he had an illegal bump stock, which he had an auto sear. And you can already see that they're saying that they wrote it wide enough with a girth that can encompass other stuff. So that, I mean, just from that story, it was just something quick I read, but.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I see where you're coming from. Yeah, it's the red flag law is so broad too. I mean, next they're going to be confiscating. You break a law doing something, then all of a sudden they're going to your washing machine next. I mean, it could get. I mean, I know I'm being thing there, but I'm trying to. Or here a good one. You break a traffic law. You're speeding. They're going to confiscate your car under the red flag law.
Well, Squid made a good point. Squid made a good point when he was talking about people caring about this and people caring about that. And we've got a bunch of pro 2A gun channels people who think the red flag laws are no big deal. And I'm not talking out of school. They've said it. And I'm not, and I know the popular thing is Sarge right now, and I'm not talking about just Sarge, but there's plenty of people who think, and their words, not mine, the red flag laws aren't no big deal. Well, and then they'll ask you, what, you don't want to keep guns out of bad people's hands? And that's a disingenuous argument 100%, because nobody that I know of, and I'm very confident that nobody that any of you guys know want bad people getting guns. But I also don't want a cop showing up at my house because the next door neighbor was scared that I carried a gun in my house and thinks I'm a danger.
The other thing is, I don't want a bad guy getting acid to throw on somebody's face, and I don't want a bad guy getting a baseball bat that he can hurt people with. A lot goes with that. We don't want bad people. We don't like evil. That's it's bad. That's why it's called bad people or something.
Yeah. Sarge touched it the other night. You brought it up, David, but because when he was on Yankee, they made it sound like he's for red flag laws no matter what. What his position is that they a certain law like that might be able to work if and only if they also have in there where due process is completely protected, and it's not just where somebody reports you as possibly, potentially, maybe being a danger to somebody. They would actually have to prove it in court that you would be a danger to somebody.
See, the thing I think people miss also is if it's a law, you can't have certain items, right? It's a law. Once it's a law, that's part of their job is to do the law. They're not judges. They can't decide if a law is legal. If it is illegal, I guess they got where they can ask lawyers or whatever. But once a thing is a law, you can't. I don't know. That's kind of a touchy subject because obviously you don't want people pushing bad laws, but you're the dumbass that voted that person in and left that person go to Congress and make the laws, then you're going to have to deal with it. So hopefully we can get rid of them people.
And I don't give Sarge a hard time for doing his job. I actually defended him on that, on Midnight Show. People keep talking about, these are blah, blah, blah. No, they passed. They're actual laws. Sarge is a law enforcement officer, so he's going to enforce the laws. I get that. But there's not, I'm sick of people saying, well, if you read the red flag, I've read 90% of the red flag laws, and they're almost all written basically exactly the same. And there's nothing in them that are any good.
No, you're right. You're right. Anyway, gentlemen, this could go on for hours. And, Wednesday nights I try to keep short if possible and keep it to
Well, we're trying to we didn't have Tony, the other day, so we're trying to make Tony happy. So
I know,
that's why we're trying to extend it up.
I'm having hot dogs tonight, and I'm getting hungry.
Hot dog
candy
sandwiches.
sandwiches.
It's a sandwich because I'm using old-fashioned bread because I have no buns.
Yes.
And I think that I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that the Baker Act already covers people who have mental issues and anger issues and all that, as far as your red flag laws.
Oh yeah, they already do. Yeah. So I want to say thank you to everybody for being here, and we'll go through the panel for any shout-outs or plugs or anything. So we'll start with Blind Shooter.
Thanks for having me, Rick. Always appreciate it. And the next time you're cooking hot dogs, do you think you could send some my way?
Will do.
You live in New York City and you can't find a good hot dog?
No. You don't want to know what they've been sitting in here.
All right. Next is David.
Well, thanks for having me. Make sure everybody likes, share, and subscribe. Rick Life as I see it. And don't forget to tune in Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, the only time zone that matters.
That's right. Patriot.
Well, thank you, fine sir. Another wonderful chat. If you guys are bored, go check out my channel. I do have an EDC challenge going on. You can find the video right there in my list. And I put out a St. Valentine's Day PSA today. So take a look, check it out. Have a wonderful night and a wonderful St. Valentine's Day.
All right. Thanks. Rich.
Yeah, let's see. We got on Sunday nights, we have This Week Unloaded over on the Unloaded Media channel. Speaking of that channel, I put out a video earlier today with mail call from Patriot, where he sent me some stuff from that giveaway he did on your show, was it last week before? So check that out. See the cool stuff that Patriot sent. And thank you for that, sir. Appreciate it.
And just to let you know, Patriot, all of his stuff was upside down and backwards.
Squib.
Yeah, I guess thanks for letting me bring up politics, and I'll see everybody around the interwebs.
All right, no problem, Squib. Tony.
Good night, everybody, and be safe out there.
All
Oh,
right.
I'm sorry I was late.
That's okay, not a problem. Also, before I call it real quick, anybody out there got any questions for this show or my Saturday show, just email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com.
And complaints go to shootingleft-of-center@gmail.com.
Absolutely. That's it. All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I don't know if there's another chat coming up. I know Matt's on at 9. I don't know if there's anything on in between now and then. So somebody can always start one. So there we go. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Never fear the dark.
Bye-bye.